Hello everybody, welcome back to my home here in East Tennessee on this beautiful day in August. I am going to be preparing my orchid named Star. She's a no ID, but this is a Phalenopsis that I've had in my collection for about 8 years, and she needs to go into a new home today. Last year I placed her in a hybrid of fir bark and New Zealand sphagnum moss. I was getting low on my supplies and that's what I had left. So I thought she had been struggling in New Zealand sphagnum moss. And I thought, let's add some bark into this pot and see how she does. And she's done so much better. So I'm going to check her root system today, see how she's doing, but the roots are going out the bottom of the pot. So I think that she's happy in this home. But she needs to have her stem cut today before she is placed in new bark and new moss. So let me show you what I plan on repotting her in. She's going to be in water culture for the next several days because of the cut stem that I'm going to have to do today. I don't like to put them right into new medium right after I've cut their stem. My channel is sponsored by Orchid Supply Store. Here is their web address and here is their phone number. And if you use my code Amy, then you'll receive a 12% viewers discount. Also, the Mountain West products at the Orchid Supply Store, they have been reduced in price. So that is really good news as well. So the bark that I'm going to be using to repot Star in is product right here, the Western Fir Bark, the Rexius Medium. Let me give you all a close-up of that. This is beautiful bark and is exactly the same size as what Star has been in this past year. So I know I'm doing the right thing by choosing this size. And of course, I'll be using the Spag Moss by Best Grow. This is the best New Zealand sphagnum moss. I love this. And this is also from Orchid Supply Store. But as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a two-step process, and so many of you have asked me, how do you do this? I am going to be trimming back this stem on her. It is very woody. There is just some stuff that I need to clean up on her stem. It's just too long and she keeps toppling over, and so before I put her in her new home, I'm going to be cutting that stem. I'm going to be applying the Neosporin and cinnamon ointment that I use on some of my other plants when they get some black spot, because that's going to seal the wound, which I want to do. I want to seal the wound and have that callus over before I place her in any medium, because that's going to help the healing process. And I want to make sure that that is calloused off before I put it down into the bark and the moss. Okay, so here's the root system. And as you see, I've got some roots growing out of this pot, but she was struggling in just New Zealand sphagnum moss last year. There was a lot of cyanobacteria, just a lot of algae that was growing in this pot. And so I decided I really have to put her in some kind of a drier medium. So let's see what her root system looks like. And I also need to take note what order I put the moss and the bark in, because I don't remember. Okay, so I've wet the medium, and as you see, she's just kind of dangling here. But her root system is good. So this is just going to be the moment of truth. Okay, so there's bark on the top. And if you don't get it everywhere, then you're not having any fun. Then moss, then bark. Okay. I'm going to try to tease this. Do you see how I'm getting this through here without breaking it? I hope, especially after I said that. Okay. Oh, don't break, don't break. And I'm used to having bark all over my floor. Ah, yes. Okay, so it was bark, then moss, then bark. Oh my goodness, this root system looks a lot better than it did last year. A lot better. I am very, very grateful for that. Wow. She barely had any roots this time last year. The moss just got too wet. It was a humid summer last year, like it has been this year. And good thing is moss is easy to get off of roots. The moss looks good. The mix looks good. None of this smells bad. So there's, yay, there's no rot in this pot. That means the root system is going to be very, very easy to clean up. Yay. That's exactly what I thought. Okay, the center of the plant. Do you see how the center, all this is mush? Yep, I'm glad that I took this out because these yucky roots here in the center needed to be taken off of this plant. For some reason, after you've had a phal for a while, the stems start getting old and woody. Do you see how this is just like, yeah, this is just, well, it's a very mature plant, so that's good. So here's the story about how to disinfect your scissors, because this point, you're not wanting to cut into this stem with dirty scissors. So I actually run them through the dishwasher the night before I use them for this. And then I clean them with alcohol again because I want some really clean scissors. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. Where am I going to cut this? Do you all, This root right here does not look good. I don't like this at all. Okay, but I don't want to cut anything until, I'm going to cut right here. Okay, do you see how long this stem is? This part of it is just dead. Do you see how it's black right here? This is not doing the plant any good. Okay, so let's just cut into it and then see what we got right here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Not bad. Not bad. Do you see here? Dare I cut any more? Yeah, this is kind of nerve-wracking when you do this, to be honest with you. That's the reason why some of my repots, I don't do them all in one day. Because when you have to cut a stem, oh my goodness, that's kind of heavy, y'all. And if your plant is not a mature plant, if your stem is just fine, you do not do this part. This is not something that I do with every repot by any means. And can you tell I'm thinking about it because I'm starting to look at other parts of this plant that need to be tended to? Yeah. A lot of repotting, especially with something like this, is you think about it. I'm going to go a little bit higher, and I am going to disinfect my scissors one more time. Okay, after I've had some time to look at this, let me move this root out of the way. That cut looks pretty good. I don't want to cut any higher up on this. I can clean all of this right here up over the next day or two because I'm not going to put this down in medium right away. I'm going to clean up this stem. It's a lot easier after it's been setting out of media, believe it or not, for 24 to 48 hours. So I'm just going to leave it like this, and I'm going to take a toothbrush and just very gently clean the rest of this up. So I think that stem looks good. You don't want to cut too high up, but you want to cut the dead part away. And as you see, this looks this looks healthy right here, so I think I cut it just the right point. I do want to get rid of this squishy root right here. So I went ahead and I sterilized my scissors again, and I'm going to cut this. Ooh, yeah, that was a squishy one. Yep. Okay, so here's the root system. This looks good. And I'm going to show you the size of this miniature Phalenopsis. When I bought this, it was in a 2-inch pot. Okay, here's the crown, and I'd say that this is about, it's about an 18-inch wingspan. Here's the roots. Here's what all grew in fir bark and New Zealand sphagnum moss in 1 year. I thought that I was going to be able to put this down in this glass bowl. Are you kidding with me? No, that is not going to work. So I'm going to have to go get a big glass bowl to put these roots down in. And I'm not going to be able to keep it in water culture for about a day or two because this bark is, these roots love this bark right here. They're buddies, okay? Wow, look at the branching on some of these roots. It's amazing. One root I had to cut away, plus that old yucky brown stem. Not bad at all. That is a beautiful, beautiful orchid. When I get this into its new home, it's going to just take off. Okay, this has been a lively repotting session. Are your all's repotting sessions this much fun? Okay. You never know what you're going to get. That's the thing. I've always said when you get into a repot, you have no idea what you're going to find. There's been repots that I thought, oh boy, okay, I'm going to just take an hour or so, and it's taken maybe half an hour. Then there's cases like this where you kind of have to do it in stages. So here she is in water culture in about 55 parts per million of CalMag. The root system was very clean. There was just no moss that adhered to the roots. I just rinsed them off and here they are. So the only thing that I have left to do is to mix up my Neosporin and my cinnamon, and I'll show you how I do that for that cut that we made on the stem. Several of you asked me how I do this. Here's my little blob of Neosporin. There's more than a blob there. You see that much Neosporin, about this much cinnamon, and you just mix it this way until you've got this thick ointment and cinnamon paste. And here's what it looks like when you get it done. It's just thick ointment, Neosporin ointment with cinnamon. And boy, does it ever work. Now, normally if I didn't have to do this, I would just go ahead and repot this. This has just not been a big deal. But I absolutely want to seal off that cut and just kind of give it a day or two for that ointment to sink in. Plus, I really need to work on this stem and pull all this dead part off of it very gently. That needs to be done. She'll be just much happier if her stem is cleaned. And yes, cleaning this stem is going to be tedious work. I'm just glad that her roots look so good. I'm going to take my time and really clean this stem off very well. I'm going to keep her in water culture for probably, 2 or 3 days, and then we'll be ready for the repotting video. So the next time you all see Stars, she will be ready to be repotted. This is going to look a whole lot better. I'm going to look at that stem again. If I feel like it needs to be cut again, I'm going to, but I don't think so. I think that it's just absolutely fine. I just need to get this part right here cleaned off, and I think we're going to be good to go. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that this has helped you all a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in my comment section below. So before I let you all go, I would love to say the blessing over you, your family, and your plants. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. You all make it a great day. We'll talk to you next time.